Anytime in this video I say man and nature, I'm referring to men and women, and nature as in what is separate from humans. Even though there is a debate as to whether humans are separate from nature or not, this is how I'm referring to it just for the sake of putting my opinion forward. Sup YouTube, Born in Asphodel Meadow here, and I was just going to toss my 2 cents in on Nicotine 2's newest video. It really got me thinking about the subject, more so than I had been before. The exact topic he was addressing was the difference between humanity and nature, and if there is one, and why humans feel the need to preserve nature. I could see how this kind of question, like are humans and nature one and the same, or are they separate entities? I could see how it would be considered almost like a determinism versus free will argument. If humans have free will and are capable of choosing things, then we are, in essence, different from nature because nature doesn't have the same privilege, or so we believe. And we are capable of defying nature to the point of being irreconcilable with nature. Humans are humans, nature is nature, and all the things that humans produce are irreconcilably different from the things nature produces because they were created by us. And that in itself makes it unnatural, therefore not part of nature. Although, if the universe is deterministic, and humans don't have like an actual free will, all of our choices are just the end result of our entire lives' experiences and a bunch of synapses firing in our brain, causing us to make the choice that we deem fit, then I would say that humans are a part of nature, and that everything a human does is natural for that human, and therefore natural for nature as a whole, is not distinguishable from nature. Now, a lot of the things that humans do obviously don't seem very natural, like operate machinery and shit like that. But, for example, if you look at a termite secretes acid that destroys trees. That's natural. It's what they do. It's how they eat. It's how they build homes for themselves. And humans use massive machines that we've built out of metal that comes from the ground, fueled by fossil fuels that are extremely corrosive and combustible, to cut down trees and forests to make our own homes. Ultimately, although ours is far more complex and seemingly unnatural, it is, if the universe is deterministic, it's ultimately comparable to the termite and the acid. It's all the same stuff, essentially, it's just amped up a bit. The time I think that it began, that humanity really started dividing itself from nature, in its own eyes anyway, was really when we began to lose our respect for nature. And when I say respect, I don't mean respect like you'd respect an elder, or respect someone who'd done some fantastic thing, someone who'd made an accomplishment. I mean respect like the way you'd respect someone else's property, or the land that they own. But when humans became intelligent enough and realized that we were the only thinking things on this planet to the degree that we think, we started looking at nature like our own. Like there was no one telling us that nature belonged to them. Therefore, the first person to stick a flag on it and call it theirs was the person it belonged to. That's what I mean by a lack of respect. People just pulled a Napoleon and started sticking flags down wherever they want. Like, this land is mine, that rock is yours, this house is mine, these trees and these animals are mine. When we really have no actual ownership of them. The only real ownership we have of them is the ownership we allow to ourselves, because no one is going to take it from us. In other words, humans can almost take what they please from nature, and the only opposition they're going to get is what little resistance nature can offer, and other humans. And it's gotten to the point where nature itself is to serve us. You asked in your video, like, why is nature worth preserving as it is, before man corrupted it? You say so we can learn from it, is one of the schools of thought. Another school of thought on the subject is because nature is beautiful to many people. Something about nature is just attractive to us. You're right, nature is cruel, and it's blunt, and it's unapologetic. Yet some people do find it beautiful. Why? Who can say? But I do think it's somewhat pretentious to claim that we should preserve nature just from our use of it, like so we can learn from it, or because we enjoy it. It's like humans consider themselves a king and nature is the jester, when we clearly know that we are of the same substance as nature. You ask, why should we care if something goes extinct as long as the global ecosystem remains intact? I would say the only real value to preserving something is because we don't really enjoy guilt. We don't enjoy knowing that we terminated an entire species that otherwise may have gone on indefinitely, or at least produced a daughter species or two or more that would still remain on the planet. And there's nothing advantageous about letting it die. That's why, for our own enjoyment, basically, for our own profit, we wish to preserve tigers and pandas and every other endangered species in the world that we are responsible for eliminating. I do think it gets to the point, though, where every species has to go extinct eventually, you know? Like if the dodo was still around, right? Would humans be compelled to preserve the dodo? I'd say probably. There's no reason, because the dodo is going extinct naturally, we wouldn't try to save it just because we weren't the ones wiping them out. So is that pretentious? Is it pretentious to want to keep everything alive indefinitely just for our own enjoyment? I mean, if we didn't take an enjoyment, or if we didn't profit from keeping animals alive, why wouldn't we just glaze the entire planet with parking lots, you know? Why wouldn't we just make everything inanimate aside from ourselves? Like, aside from the fact that it would kill us, there'd be no real reason not to if we didn't value nature. But I still think we wouldn't do it, and here's why. I think we want to preserve nature because really it's all there is. Without things that aren't human, all that would be on this planet would be humans and rocks, and there's nothing fun about that. Let's picture ourselves as alone on this planet because we don't have any playmate species other than us who rival us in intellect, or who we can really have a stimulating conversation with. At least we have some toys to play with. If you look at humans as the ones who can stake a claim to anything in nature, all of nature is like our playground equipment. The reason nature is better than any toy a human could build is because nature isn't necessarily bound by the scope of human creativity and the power to create. If we were to kill everything that isn't human and somehow survive, and then just for the rest of eternity, we would produce everything that we would experience, I don't think we would enjoy it as much as nature itself, because it would ultimately just be a product of our own imagination. There would be nothing that would really cause us wonder or surprise, or cause us to think deeply about something, because we would know that everything is within the limitations of the human sphere. Ordered things do take a lot more effort to achieve than chaos. And ordered things are naturally more fragile and far more interesting than pure chaos. Another thing I realized while I was thinking about this is that animals, plants, all life really has no fundamental essence beyond its own transient existence. I'll use tigers as an example. There's nothing about a tiger that will outlast a tiger. There is nothing, like, it's any aspect of it. Its instincts, its claws, its fur. There's nothing about tigers in and of themselves that will outlast tigers. And the only way the essence can really be continued beyond the life of a singular organism is through procreation. Thing is, once the procreation chain is broken, the essence is lost and it's gone. It's unable to get back. Almost like an indefinite relay race. The reason we may want to preserve this state of being, this constant flux that is life and evolution, is, like I said, because once it's gone, you can't get it back. And to lose that essence would be to forever deny ourselves anything that essence could become, anything that essence could change into, anything we could learn from it in the future. Humans are really used to being completely unopposed with the way we treat nature. And we are still unopposed as a species. There's nothing that can really rival us. To quote Aldous Huxley in Brave New World, which is a quote I've always liked, I remember it stuck with me the second I read it. What man has joined, nature is powerless to put asunder. And it's only recently that Western society is realizing that if we keep playing with our toys the way we've been playing with them, we're going to break them. They're not going to be useful to us anymore. We're going to lose stuff that we'll never be able to get back. So why do we want to preserve the ordered? Why do we want to preserve nature and life? It's all there is. It's all we have. It's all that is not ourselves that we can really relate to in any way. Even the most beautiful stellar phenomena, a comet, a supernova, a nebula, we can't ultimately relate to them because they are I don't want to say accidental. They're caused by a series of natural processes and are subject to a natural entropy. In other words, every beautiful stellar phenomenon will eventually dissolve. Life is the only thing that's really capable of non-accidentally increasing in complexity. And as life ourselves, we feel we have to preserve this state of being, because otherwise all would become chaotic. So I suppose we do have to decide whether or not it is worth preserving nature. I personally think we should, because without nature, it would be damn dry on this planet. And it's not like we can't be rid of it later on if it becomes an inconvenience to us, right? Anywho, I am born in Asadon Meadow. Those were my thoughts, and I will see you guys later.